time really flies. 3 years ago, Farthest Frontier released in early access. This was already an amazing game at the time, but since then, they have made so many improvements. The optimization of the game has really been improved, so now you can have huge cities. We have a lot more custom settings and options when you're starting a new game. We have completely new gameplay mechanic like a spirituality system, tons of new buildings, improvement, and much more. So you are in for a treat with this version 1.0 release. Let's start with the official release trailer. If you want to skip it, you can just skip 2 minutes forward, but for everybody else, let's enjoy this one. This music, magnificent. What a great soundtrack. Protect and guide your people as you forge a town from untamed wilderness at the edge of the known world. Harvest raw resources, hunt, fish and farm to survive. Produce crafted items to trade, consume, equip and fight with as you battle for your survival against the elements and outside threats. It is truly a survival game. You know, the winter is harsh. It's gonna be hard to survive. But more than that, we have also enemies, raiders that will attack regularly. You can of course take that out. You have the pacifist mode over here if you wish to. And again, if you've never heard about this one, it's truly a great one for fans of city builders, survival games. We're talking about more than 85% positive on Steam. I think the latest score I saw was 87, so really positive. As I said also just before, we have now a lot more settings. We already had those advanced settings here where you can choose basically your resources, your health, like maladies, his healthcare, your wildlife, is there a lot and are they aggressive or not, and lastly the raiders. But now you can also go into custom settings. There will be a warning over here that tells you you won't get achievements if you go into custom settings, but if you click over here, you can now choose anything you want, like free buildings, disable raiders, of course, disable spirituality, disable pretty much anything you want, but also multipliers for each of the different resources. In our case over here, we're not gonna go crazy like this. I think we're gonna do something a bit more normal right now. I'm going to give us a lot of starting resource so that we can get started quickly. I like to do this when I start a let's play, otherwise it can get boring for all of you. But everything else we're gonna leave in Trailblazers, not Vanquisher, because it's been a while since I've played this one. But don't hesitate, to tell me in the comments below also if you want me to do one in the future on Vanquisher or even more than this. We can choose, you know, terrain. There is quite a few terrain, and obviously they will be some a bit easier than others, right? The valley over here is the best. It is easiest to start. This one is not too bad because it's also flat over here, while you know, arid highlands is obviously really hard. You can also choose the size of your map if you want, you know, between large and small. I'm gonna keep it medium, as I said. First thing first, as always, we pause. Press space to pause. Town center. We finish scouting the surrounding area. Survey the land your villagers have explored and choose a promising site to construct your town center. So you're gonna want to choose a location, obviously, that is, you know, not too far from some basic resources like clay or iron ore. The thing to also remember is this is not all of the map. You will actually discover more of the map in the future. You can see over here there is some resources over there. It's just not available at the start. At the start you need to start, you know, a bit in the middle. And as you can see, quite a lot, you know, of different things. We can see also the fertilities by changing over here the camera. So if I press Control, I can go top down. I have some overlays, like this is the fertility or desirability, sorry. So desirability is gonna be not good anywhere. Then we have the water. Probably need some water for your town. And then last but not least, the fertility, where you're gonna need some fertility for your farms, but your city not so much, right? So over here, it's interesting. There is a couple of resources. There is some clay over here. There's some good fertilities. There's some, let's see, there is a mine there of sand and stone. Yeah, I'm thinking this is a pretty good place to get us started, either there or here. At the end, obviously, our city will be huge, so it doesn't matter that much for the long term. But yeah, I think let's start somewhere over here. We'll have a bit of resource. We'll have, yeah, not too far. So let's go. You can rotate it with R. And your camera too, of course, right? Move up and down. But at this time, I'm gonna place it over here. And it is, that's a town center ready to go. Here are all of my people, right? They're going to right away take some resources from this. This is my storage cart. It is full of starting resources. So taking some resources, in this case, you know, they need some logs. And yeah, I'm gonna keep the tutorial just so that you see it too, but of course I'll explain everything. So you can, you know, like in any survival game, you're gonna want to get some resources. We can take out the fertility. Now there's not that many trees over here. Maybe that is what I was missing, but there's some over there maybe. So yeah, we're gonna want to harvest. Let's go harvest all of this. I'm gonna want to harvest also everything that's close by, because I'm gonna need the space anyway. Right, so like this. Okay, and maybe these ones too. Good. So that is first things first. That is done, right? We've selected some resources from harvest, and that's gonna be quite important to get, you know, 16 logs and beat this. Because if you look over here, we have some food, but we don't have any logs, right? We're at 0 right now logs. So that's clearly something really important. The other thing is my people are not so happy right now because they don't have a house, right? So if you look over here, it says housing shortage. Here you can see the housing symbol, right? So they're not happy. That's something to keep in mind. There it is. They are working. It's not as beautiful as Manor, but honestly, for a game of this type, for me, it does the job. You can really, you know, look nice. And by the way, there is of course a lot of settings in terms of audios, but also in terms of videos. Right now, you know, this is, by the way, what I've put. Not saying it's perfect. You can, of course, depending on your GPU and your screen, get something better. But yeah, over here, we're starting to get some of the wood already at 14. I can press 3 to increase the speed. You'll see it at the bottom over here. Now we're at 3 speed. Try to get that done first and foremost. And something very important in this game, a bit like in Foundation, is the professions. We actually need to give, professions to our people, otherwise they will be laborers and or builders. So you can choose how many builders you're gonna have. In this case, for example, I say, let's move to 6 builders. And laborers are all of the people that are not doing anything, right? They're not working right now in any of those specialized jobs. And it is important to keep some, right? Because this is what's gonna be used for a lot of the small tasks. So really having some always is critical. So it is, we have a Town Center level 1, obviously not a super impressive one right now. It does show us also some of our stats. For example, right now, a lot of our people have been working, so that's good, but some were actually idle too. So we'll be able to make them work even further. We have also this button here, which is really important, is for my villagers to garrison themselves if we're being attacked. This is gonna be to upgrade it. Of course, we're not there yet. And there is, as I said, many other. So we have over here our professions, the resources. There's gonna be a lot there. We'll talk about it in the future. Happiness. For now, they're really not happy. And we can see why they're not happy. They don't have shelters. They are not clean. So that is really bad for them. Then our military, our crop summary, that's gonna be critical. Technology. There is a huge technology tree right now. So we're gonna want, to do some of these, but of course, right now we can't really do that. We're too early in the game for it. So what should we do first? Well, it will depend. Some people will say you should focus first on houses. Some people will tell you should focus more on having, resources first. In my opinion, getting some houses would be good. So we're gonna press B or click on this button over here next to the harvest resource, and we have the build menu. And by the way, we have also over here clearing some resources. We have also roads there, that's quite important. Now in this game, what's really great is you can put road pretty much at all angles, but it does take some effort. You can see here it says 12 of labor basically to construct that road. So you shouldn't go too crazy at the beginning, but you may want to place, a small road. For example, here I do have, I said our forest potentially there. So maybe we do something like this, right? Or maybe we say, if I go back to my fertility tab, we said this is probably gonna be my city here. It's not fertile. As you see here, maybe more my farms. So we may want, right, to put a road over here too, right? So something maybe over here. Oh, what happened? Yes, you go like this and like that. It doesn't have to be a grid, and remember, but you may want a grid. Okay, so housing shortage, right? And by the way, right now we won't have that many things unlocked, but you have quite a few categories. We have here the amenities like graveyard when people die, the shrine. This is going to cost gold, so we're not gonna build that right away. More importantly, housing over here. And as I said, we don't have that many available right now. In the future we'll get way more. So we have the shelter. This is basically, not that desirable. People won't be that happy to live there, but it's better than nothing, right? And it doesn't cost that much, just some basic logs. So we're gonna take it to rotate. We're gonna press tab. This is not R, it's tab. To put it, close to a road, even if it's not that necessary. And then, we may want to be a bit smart. In particular in this game, you will need a high desirability, which means you're gonna want to put some decoration and things like this. So we're gonna leave some space, but I'm thinking maybe we start with 3 like this, and we can leave some space here in the back for the future. Okay, so yeah, some are starting to build the road here. You can see working just on building this road. Some are starting to deliver some logs to those houses, and it will also require people to work on it. You can put more or less workers on each of these. You can say it's prioritized, you can pause it. All of those great quality of life obviously are available. So that was the first building we definitely wanted. Then if you look at storage, we do have a stockyard over here. to put logs, stones or things like this, which could be good because again, we are starting to get some of those resources over here. So I think we're gonna put one over there now that more of my houses have been built. And so actually, if we look also over here slash over there, you can see that the happiness of my people has actually shifted. They have now shelters, so they're a lot happier than before. That's going to obviously change if we don't give them more things, but it's a good start, right? We have those houses over here. I'm not going to read all of this because I'm going to explain. So this is a shelter, right? This is a house. We can relocate it if we want. So it's like moving it with some cost. We can see first who lives there, right? 4 people that live there, and see exactly who they are, their occupation, etc. A lot of details here. We can see what is stored right now in the house is not much. So for example, there is no food, and that is why, you know, they're not that happy on this. But there is a bit of water, so that's something. No firewood, no medicine. They have their coats right now, but those coats are going to, you know, start to become worn out, and you're gonna need new ones. So anyway, that is the basic of the house here, of seeing our people, the storage. And then at the top, you will see what is needed to upgrade and the cost. So what is needed? Well, it's needed a tier 2 town center. You need a basic well. You need 30% of desirability. So this is what I was mentioning before, where we're gonna want to have more decoration and things like this, which by the way, you can also see over here. We need 2 types of food and 1 herb, and it will cost 5 wood planks and 2 logs to upgrade, which will give you access to more, right? You'll have more people living there, they will be happier, they will give you more money, etc. So it is obviously great to upgrade in the future. Okay, what else? We have now a reserve of you know, storage for basic things, so we should probably start to make some food. Food is definitely a very deep mechanic in this game. You have many types of food, and in particular for your crop fields, there is really deep mechanics there. Now, I wouldn't suggest starting right away with the crop field because that's going to take time to really get going. But we can definitely start with some of the others, right? Like the hunter cabins to create some meat, or we have the forager shack, right? So for example, over here, we have some eggs, or there we have some herbs, right? So that could be good to start getting some of these resources. Can I get both of them? Yeah, here. If you look on top there, or Alt, it shows you, right, the detail of we're gonna have quite a bit of berries, quite a bit of greens, and some eggs. So it's a start. It's a start. And then if we look at the meat, right, we have over here a couple of deers, and that's pretty much it, unfortunately. Let's see, over here we have a lot of boars. Problem is, these guys, they can also attack us, like do some big damage to us, so we do need to be careful. And if you click over here, you will see there is 2 boars. They're territorials, so if my villagers go too close, they will attack. What else? Yeah, I don't think I see a lot of other foods. Oh, we have some fish here, and we have quite a lot of herbs there too in the future. But maybe let's start, yeah, with just a basic food operation on this side here. Okay, good. Unpause the game. It is again more resources, right? So that's gonna take some time. More people await wards to join your settlement. Amass a 4-month supply of food and 6 houses. Maintaining significant food stock will help attract more people. Indeed, indeed. So if we look over here, I have right now 12 people, and we have 3 houses, each with 4 spaces, so that's also 12. So we have enough for my current people, we don't have enough for people to join us, right? So we're gonna want to build a couple more. Before I do that though, let me show you that we have over here some others. We have the basic well and the firewood splitter. We're gonna want to build those 2 ASAP. We have then defenses, like a tower, but this costs gold, so we're not gonna do that right away. we have the dirt road I showed you, but also some fences. And that can be quite important for a couple of reasons. One can be for the predators, right, to stay away from your food or your villagers. The other can be even for the raiders, it's gonna slow them down. But obviously this is not as good as, stone walls and things like this. And then last but not least, we have the decorations, which was what I was mentioning before. Unfortunately, I see all of these here cost gold. I don't know if they've changed any of these since I last played, but yeah, they all cost gold. And the good thing is you can see that these are all one space, right? If we look at something like a garden trail, that can be pretty big, but it's also 3:1. In the future, there will be way bigger one. But what I'm trying to say is, I think leaving one space right now in between our houses is, oops, and of course that is not what I did. So let's delete these two. You cannot move them until you have built them. It's a bit of a catch-22. And then N for extending a bit of road over here. Okay. Good. So that's gonna expand the city a bit more. We're going to prioritize this, and you see that they have a problem. They have no firewood. This is why I was saying we're gonna want to make firewood and also have a well pretty much ASAP. Pretty much ASAP. So let's start with the basic well on, I think we're gonna put it on this side because this is mostly for my houses right now. So you can see this is in range, right? If I start putting it too far, then it may not be in range, but here this is okay. We're going to place quick road there. Okay, this is the first building that will also cost some stone on top of the wood. Now the problem is I see I have a couple of people going for stone. Don't know if we still have a lot of people going for wood, so we may want to prioritize wood a bit. Like here we have a lot on stone. There is still a few on wood too. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine. Because yeah, I'm very low, right? 0, 0, only 6. So that is not enough. Let me jump, a few minutes into the future when a few of those things have been built. And it is just literally a few minutes later, incoming travelers wish to immigrate to my village. Obviously, if you don't have any food, you may have to turn them away. But we have a lot of food. We actually have too much food because we have some food that's going to spoil in 1 month. We have 23 months of food reserves, and as I said, some that will even spoil. And we have our 6 houses now, so we have space for 12 people, 7 are here. So definitely let's take them so that we get more villagers to work to, right? If I look at my professions now, we finally have a couple of people dedicated to productions. There's one hunter, there's one forager, one working also in the firewood splitter. So it's nothing that nobody's working in the well, it's more like the people are passing by the wells and taking resources there. But yeah, look at these 6 houses, we have the well that's been built, we have over here a kind of industrial corner that is starting. So the forager shack is trying to get resources, in particular, as we said, the berries, the greens and the eggs. So right now it has actually taken all of the eggs. You can see there is 0 left. This will come back next year, but so this is not like you can put tons of building in the same place. You may have a problem. Oh, we have some ore over here, okay. All of these also have been actually gathered, so I don't know if they're gathering anything right now. I don't think there is anything left to be gathered, but this is where you can also change their target area. If somehow you have found new resources somewhere else, you can move it and try to get those resources. For example, over here there is some other resources. I can try to get them, given that the rest seems to be empty right now. Similarly, for the hunter cabin, right, we have different kind of types of animals which will give different types of resources. We can decide what to focus on, But the key thing is, yes, last year, if you look over here, we've killed a couple of animals, we've gotten some meat, a bit of pelt, and some tallow. That is great. We can even see, for the person working there, it was mostly working. There was a bit of time transporting good, but not a lot, and just a bit of time getting, basic needs. Bit of time, 4%, basically killing these animals, and 1% idle. So it's a really good one, right? And it makes sense because the building is very close to the deers, even if they are not always exactly there. You can see over here now, they're a bit more in the north, but still, as long as they're in the range, all good. And then last but not least, I have built over here this firewood splitter, which is the first building where you can actually have multiple people working. So we're gonna put a second one there to transform some of these logs into firewood. Because firewood, we have 0 right now, and it's critical that we get some for... there's some interesting things happening here, and some resources on this side too, by the way. But yes, critical to get some firewood before winter, and so that's really my big goal right now. Oh, our food is definitely going down, so we need to keep that in mind. Increase maybe a bit of food production. We have over here knowledge that is going to increase soon. We have a lot more people, so we may want to start making more houses. We have a bit of reserves of stone, but not that much of logs. So we're gonna try to keep that going with H, right? Let's check over here, quite a lot of small trees here. And we could, as I said, try to get more food. So I don't think we have access to the fisherman yet. Oh, we do. He's over here. So it is. We can put the fishing shack just on the side of the river or the lake, and you can see, depending on how many of the sides of the lake you have, in this case 10, it increases a bit your productivity. So let's rotate. Actually, I lose 1 if I rotate like this, so maybe we just keep it like that. We may want a road in the future to traverse, and then the other thing we want to do is to avoid spoilage. We can have the smokehouse. It is going to use a bit of firewood, but it's going to greatly expand how long the food, like meat and fish, will be actually stored. So I think that's a pretty important one for us to make. And let's see, so this is going to be over here. Let's put it there. Okay. And then last but not least, we have now unlocked also some storage for other things like food. So a root cellar will be a partially underground structure used to store food at a reliable temperature, reducing the rate of spoilage. Pretty critical one to do early, if I may say so. So we're gonna put it over here. That way we get, some of the foods that's over there can be hopefully protected a bit more. We're going to build just small road, not big ones. Yeah. So this wasn't fully connected. Let's expand that one a bit more. Okay. And ladies and gents, I think this is a good end for this first episode. I know it may not sound like it, but we have now 24 villagers. 2 were just born and 3 just joined our city. So we've literally doubled our population in obviously less than a year. We still haven't had a winter, even if we are now in autumn. So, the cold temperature is coming. We need to make sure we have a bit more firewood in reserves, which is not great because I've been starting multiple new buildings now. But anyway, I think that's fine. We do still have a lot of laborers that hopefully are focusing on getting us some wood. And yeah, I'll see you hopefully tomorrow or the day after for us to continue. And this is a perfect transition. I think in the next episode we'll start playing with technology tree, we'll start doing some upgrades and much more. So I hope you're excited, smash the like button, and I hope to see you next time.